Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, Gardening in Cold Spring Harbor. For those of you who are new to my channel, we're in Long Island, New York, Zone 7A. How are you guys doing? How is your gardening coming along? Why don't you guys let me know in the comments below. So what are we going to do together? What are we going to talk about today, my fellow gardeners and my loyal viewers and you guys, my precious subscribers? In today's video, we're going to talk about this beauty over here. This aromatic, fragrant, medicinal plant. And this plant is lavender. We're going to talk about how to propagate, how to grow, how to prune, and even how to harvest lavender so it keeps coming back for you year after year. For those of you who thought about growing lavender, but maybe you were not sure, maybe you were afraid, maybe you had certain questions. Well, after today's video, you're gonna know everything on how to grow lavender in your home. For those of you who are looking for that online channel that offers tips, tricks, just easy yet proven gardening advice to bring your home garden to that next level, then stick around guys, you're absolutely in the right place. Start with subscribing to my channel. All you have to do is click the subscribe button below. And if you never want to miss any of my upcoming videos, also click the bell icon. YouTube will notify you every time I upload a new gardening video. Now come with me, let's get started. In today's video, we're going to master the art of growing lavender. Lavender is known for its aroma, for its scent. There's so many uses of lavender in your kitchen, in your bathrooms, and even for medicinal purposes, you guys. Lavender does not only look beautiful, it also smells just divine, guys. And for those of you who were struggling with growing lavender in the past, you will no longer have any struggle if you guys stick around with me till the end of this video. I will give you all the easy tips, tricks, and advice on how to grow and harvest lavender in your own home garden. The first aspect I want to cover in today's video is planting and placement. I personally like to purchase my lavender plants. As you can see, I have quite a few of them growing in my home garden from a local family-owned nursery, guys. I like to plant it directly into my soil in my home garden. And the best time to plant lavender, especially younger lavender plants, is now, guys, in spring. For those of you who are considering planting lavender in the fall, I suggest you guys choose a older, more established, more mature lavender plant, because you want to make sure that your roots are more established, more mature, because you want to ensure survival of your plant through the winter season. So remember, planting in the fall, you should choose a larger, more mature, more established lavender plant. But it is absolutely perfect and fine to plant younger lavender plants now in the spring season. So now some of you might be wondering, when in the spring is the best time to plant lavender? Well, the answer is very, very simple, guys. As soon as your soil temperatures is 60 degrees Fahrenheit or above, go on right ahead and plant your beautiful aromatic lavender plants. So again, guys, remember, the best time to plant lavender is in the spring. Why? Because it will go dormant for you when the fall comes. If you are planting multiple lavender plants, just remember to space them roughly 2 to 3 feet apart. Also, when planting and growing lavender, always consider the exposure of the location where you're planting it. Lavender loves direct sunlight. So the area where you're going to be planting lavender should always be a southern exposure area with 10 plus direct hours of sunlight. Lovely lavender plant adds the color, the beauty, and the aroma to your home garden. Also, it has plenty of culinary and medicinal uses. Lavender is one of those plants that is prized for its scent, for its use in a pollinator-friendly gardens, and also for its outstanding medicinal uses. Lavender thrives in most soil qualities, ranging from poor to moderately fertile. Lavender only makes one demand, guys, one, and that demand is that the soil must be well draining. Otherwise, you can grow it in any soil conditions. Lavender plant is native to the Mediterranean regions. Again, guys, it will grow in almost all soil conditions. All it needs is nice, well draining soil. However, if your soil is very high in clay, you should amend it with either compost or manure prior to planting your lavender plants. Also, some people prefer to add perlite or vermiculite on top of their soil, which helps retain excessive moisture, guys. Lavender does not like to sit in wet soil. It will cause its roots to rot. When it comes to mulch, do you mulch lavender? You guys absolutely can use mulch, but remember, do not add a heavy, thick layer, especially close to the plant's root system, because mulch also retains too much water. And if your lavender plant will sit in too much water, it will cause its roots to rot. So if you are adding mulch, use a very, very thin layer and try to avoid the area specifically closest to the root system. Let's move on, guys. Now let's talk about watering. How often do you water this beauty? How often do you water your lavender plant? When you just plant your new lavender plant, water 1 to 2 times a week until your plant establishes, guys. Once your plant establishes and becomes a more mature lavender plant, then you have to water it once every 2 to 3 weeks. Remember where it's from. It's originally from the Mediterranean regions, and it does not like too much water. So established plant, mature plant, once every 2 to 3 weeks until you see those buds starting to form. Now, if you guys starting to see your leaves turning yellow, what does yellowing of the leaves mean? It means you are over watering your lavender plant. Cut down on the water the second you see any yellowing of your leaves. Your leaves should be nice, deep green color like these. This is a sign of a healthy, happy lavender plant. For those of you, my fellow gardeners, my loyal viewers who live in colder gardening zones, colder climates, I advise you to cover your lavender plant for the winter months, for the colder months, with either natural mulch or straw. This will help protect it from the strong winds, cold air temperatures, and of course from the snow. Or another option for you guys who live in the colder climates is to plant your lavender in a pot or a container. Why? Because it gives you guys the flexibility. You can keep your plant blooming and blossoming outside in the warmer months, and you can bring it inside, indoors, when the temperatures go down in the winter. So those of you in the colder climates, consider planting your lavender plant in a pot or a container. Now let's talk about how you can grow your own lavender in your own home from cuttings. Yes, we're going to talk about how you can propagate and grow your own lavender plant. If you're trying to grow your own lavender from a cutting, you must find a side shoot that has absolutely no buds on it. So if you see a side shoot that has buds, this will not work as a good cutting to propagate lavender. You must find one with absolutely no buds. Then you should take scissors or pruning shears and make a cut very, very low, as close to the root as possible. So you would cut your side shoot as close to the ground as possible, to the root system, getting several inches off the stem. The longer the stem, the better it is. Once you make that cut close to the root system, you gently scrape off the skin of the bottom portion of the stem. So you keep the upper portion intact and you only scrape the bottom portion of the stem on the side. Then you remove all the foliage on the bottom 2 inches of the stem. So everything that is on the bottom 2 inches up, you would remove any and all of the leaves and the foliage. So what do you do next? What's the next step? And now that you have prepped your cutting by removing the skin, removing the foliage, the leaves, what's next? Next is you find a small pot or a container, you fill it up with potting mix, and you insert your cutting, which you just prepared, into the soil, and then you water your container. Now that your cutting is in your pot with the potting mix and you have watered it, cover it with a clear plastic wrap. Why? Because your lavender plant needs that humidity in order to start growing a root system. Place it in a warm, shaded area. Give it 3 weeks, roughly 3 weeks, guys, and your lavender cutting will start to grow a root system. And this is exactly how you propagate your own lavender, from a cutting. Now let's talk about pruning. How and when to correctly prune your lavender plant. So when you're talking about pruning your lavender plant, it is absolutely crucial to consider the climate, the gardening zone in which you live. So if you live in a cooler climate, prune established plants in the spring only, when the green leaves start to emerge from the base. So once you see new green growth in early spring, that is when you prune your lavender plant. If you are in a colder climate, you remove 1/3 of the top of, so your plant is basically still dormant. You're just gonna see new greenery emerge. Remember, guys, the top of your lavender plant will still be dormant as you are doing the pruning in the early spring. So as soon as you see this new, fresh, lush green growth emerge from the bottom, you would prune about 1/3 from the top. So when you do this, this prevents your lavender plant from becoming too leggy. You never, ever cut back into the old wood, which is closer to the bottom of your plant. So the top is not the old wood. You're basically not touching the old wood. You're cutting off only 1/3. Never, ever prune your lavender all the way down. Never touch the old wood. Why? Because your lavender plant will never regrow for you again if the old wood is damaged. Those of you living in the warmer climates, my fellow gardeners, do exactly the same, except do it in the fall instead of the spring. With good and, most importantly, correct pruning, your lavender plants can live for over 5 years. So remember to treat your lavender right, and it will come back for you year after year. This is it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here today in Long Island, New York, Zone 7A. Today we spoke about lavender. We spoke about planting, maintaining, growing, harvesting, and even propagating lavender from a cutting. If you guys enjoyed this video, show me that support by clicking thumbs up below. Leave your comments below. Let me know, have you ever grown lavender? Have you had any issues with growing or maintaining lavender? What was your successes when it came to growing lavender? If you guys haven't yet done so, do so today. Subscribe to my channel, Gardening Cold Spring Harbor. Thank you again for joining me. Stay healthy, happy, and be well, guys. Enjoy gardening. Enjoy getting your hands dirty. And I'll see you guys again in my next upcoming gardening videos. Bye, guys.